Hey guys, Chelsea here from Making Manzanita, and today we're going to be sharing a fun DIY project with you, and it kind of has a little bit of a funny backstory. Alright, so it was right around the holidays at the end of last year, and I was dead set on making a Pampas grass mini Christmas tree. I headed to the store, I grabbed my supplies, I got some stuff online, and I ended up trying to make it outside, which is interesting because it was freezing cold and I just about froze my fingertips off. And I got about halfway done with it and realized I hated it. It was way too big at the bottom. I had nowhere in my house to put it because it was just too large. And it just was not turning out the way that I had planned, that I had envisioned it in my head. So I stopped about halfway through. This is what it looked like when I stopped. And I ended up just calling it quits on the project. And sometimes that happens when you're DIYing and crafting. You get to making something and it just turns out totally as a failure. But I was able to turn this failure into another project that ended up turning out beautifully, and that is this Pampas grass wreath that we're going to make today. So I had all of the Pampas grass that I had originally purchased for the mini tree, and I decided to make a wreath with it instead. The idea kind of dawned on me when I was at the craft store again, getting some more holiday supplies, and I saw the grapevine wreaths in the floral department, and I was thinking, oh, I've got all that Pampas grass that I just had all trimmed down to smaller sizes that would be perfect to put in a wreath. So that's kind of the genesis of this project, and I'm so glad that that other project failed, because if it hadn't, I wouldn't have this beautiful wreath, and I like to keep this wreath up all year round, so it's even better because I can use this project more in the long run. Alright, so what you're going to need for this project is a grapevine wreath, which I got at the craft store, and I am using an 18-inch size, so that's the size that I would grab. They're pretty affordable. I got mine at Joann's, but they have them at Michael's, Walmart, or you can buy it online. The other thing is you're going to need Pampas grass. So there's a few different avenues of different ways to get the grass. If you have it locally in your area, in the wild or at a park or somewhere where you can snip it and cut it yourself, that is great. I actually was able to get some of mine not locally. Here we have a shopping center that has tons of beautiful grass plants, and I snipped all this at the end of the fall when the landscapers were chopping it all down as they prepared for winter. So I figured I would just help myself to some of their grass because they were getting rid of it all anyway. So that's where I got this stuff here in this picture. All the stuff that's on the table there is from my just local neighborhood shopping center. But then I also got a few different sets of Pampas grass from Amazon. And the first one I got was a set of 5 different types of Pampas grass, which I would recommend buying a set that has some variety, because you'll see here in the wreath that we're creating, there's tons of variety. It's very boho and eclectic. So I would, if you're buying this, get a set that has multiple varieties or mix and match a few different sets together. When you buy your Pampas grass, if you buy it online, it will probably come looking like this. It'll be wrapped in this plastic and it'll be all smushed from the packaging. When you open the package up, you will probably be unimpressed. It's going to be flat and gross and not fluffy like the stuff you see online. So the instructions that usually come with your grass if you buy it online, but just in case they don't, to fluff it back up and bring it to life, all you do is take it out of its wrapping, put it in the sun for a few hours outside or in a sunny window, and the sun will kind of just bring it back to life. That ended up working out great for the ones I got. And then once it is all fluffed up to its full potential, you can spritz it with some aerosol hairspray, and that'll help reduce the shedding, because as you can see, this stuff kind of comes apart and makes a mess. So you want to try to reduce that as much as possible. When you do open it up from the plastic, you want to do that outside, because inevitably it's going to make a bit of a mess when it's opened for the first time. So just a little tip there. As you'll see when I'm making the wreath later here, I am using floral tape. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a background in case you don't have any experience with floral tape or you've never made a wreath with it. It's very easy to use. You can get it at the craft store or online. I'll have a link for it in the video description. I am using brown floral tape. Typically you'll see this sold in either green or brown, but I'm using brown because The wreath I'm using is brown. So you want to try to match the color so the tape is not noticeable and kind of hidden. But this tape is really cool. It's kind of like a paper-like consistency. It's very thin and it stretches. You can see here it stretches, oh, and it breaks too. But as you stretch it, it becomes sticky and it mostly just sticks to itself. So as you start wrapping it around floral stems, this stuff will stick to itself, but it won't start sticking to other things like your finger or the flowers. So that's why this stuff is great. So what I did, I made little bundles of my mixed grasses, and then at the bottom of each little bundle, I wrapped the bottom 2 or 3 inches or so with floral tape, and that helped make little bundles, and then I was able to glue those into my grapevine wreath, and that helped me save time and just made it much easier rather than sticking each individual piece of grass into the wreath and gluing. So definitely pick some of this up. It's very inexpensive and you can find it at your craft store. All right, let's get started on this tutorial. So step 1 is to make these small bundles of pampas grass, and you can see that's what I'm doing here. I mixed together several different types of pampas grass, held them together in one hand, and then used the floral tape in the other hand and just wrapped the tape around the bottom 2 or 3 inches of each bundle, slightly overlapping the tape because, again, floral tape will stick to itself. And kind of stretch the tape as you go. That makes it even stickier. And then once you have the bundles all done, you can make a bunch at one time. You can secure them into the little openings of the grapevine wreath with some hot glue gun. I am using a cordless hot glue gun, which I love here. And it worked perfectly. And you can see here, I made a bunch of little bundles all at once of various sizes, and then I attached them into the wreath with the hot glue gun kind of in different phases. I also mixed in a few other florals that I had on hand. These little things here are called lunaria or money plant, and I also mixed in just some other random grasses that I had in my floral supplies kind of in the finished product. As I got the other grasses in, I just kind of filled in the empty holes with what I had on hand. You can also leave it, here's what it looks like with just one corner of the wreath done. This is kind of like a modern asymmetrical look, and if you're on a budget, this is totally a fun look to a wreath that could work, and you wouldn't have to purchase as many of supplies. So here is the finished product. I absolutely love how it turned out. I love the boho style. I love that it's neutral colors, so it matches my decor, and I think it works all season long in my house. I've had it out since the holidays, and I think it's totally appropriate to keep out all year long. But if you're someone that likes to change things up seasonally, I think this would make a great look for a winter wreath. You could even add in more lighter colors or a fall wreath because it's definitely got those fall colors. I ended up hanging it here just on an empty wall in our little hallway next to our lunch shelves, and it's just the perfect little finishing touch to that wall. But you could hang this up pretty much anywhere in your house. The only place I wouldn't recommend it is the front door, just because it's probably a little too fragile to be outside. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and let me know if you guys end up making a pampas grass wreath. I would love to see the pictures. You can tag me on social. I am at Making Manzanita on every social platform. And comment below. Let me know if you have any other questions. And then while you're here, we would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to our channel. We share DIY crafting videos like this and home renovation and woodworking tutorials. So a little bit of everything to help you DIY your home. All right, have a great rest of your day. And then while you're here, check out this video next. Have a great day.